Hello and welcome to the 2012 League of Women Voters Election Forum. I'm the moderator, Murray Farber, former newspaper and TV news editor and a member of the League of Women Voters. We're pleased that candidates have joined us so that you can learn where they stand in the primary election to be held June 5th. The League of Women Voters does not support nor oppose any candidate or political party. Before I introduce the candidates, I'll explain our format. We will give each candidate a minute to tell you about themselves in an opening statement. Then we will get to the questions for 1-minute answers with 30-second rebuttals where appropriate. The order in which they speak was determined earlier by lottery. They were not given any peeks at the questions in advance. At closing, the candidates will offer a 1-minute statement. So here we go. Today's candidates for running for the council from the 4th District are Susan Good and Paul Caprioglio. And so let's start with an opening statement by Susan.
Thank you. My name is Susan Good, and I'm running for Fresno City Council District 4 because I think that we can do more for District 4, but also for our city. My slogan is "It's all good," meaning that my candidacy is all good. I'm ready and I'm prepared to serve. I have 35 years of proven business and financial management experience. I also have had the opportunity to lead in 20 different volunteer organizations. I wasn't just a member, and I'm very proud of that. I also have received and been very humbled to receive a number of recognitions throughout my adult life, including the top 10 professional woman of the year and also the Leadership Fresno Alumnus of the Year. It would be an honor to be able to represent the residents of District 4, and I would be humbled to receive your support.
Thank you for having me here today. It's been a pleasure to be here. I want to thank everyone involved with the League of Women Voters and encourage them to continue their good work for our community. It's very important. By way of background, I'm Paul Caprioglio. I want to be your next City Council member, District 4. By way of background, I am a citizen of District 4 for the past 37 years. I've lived continuously in the same residence and have raised my family there, my son John Paul, who's 17, as well as my daughter Lauren, who's 15. Also, I was the only experienced candidate right now that has served on the City Council. I was actually serving in the interim period when Larry Westerlin was called to active duty. It was an honor for me to take his place for those 11 months in 08-09. From there, I was appointed to the Planning Commission, and I served there honorably as well. I look forward to continuing my effective experience leadership. With your vote and support, we can do that for the citizens of Fresno and District 4. Thank you.
Let's start off by asking, how would you encourage more investment in downtown and the Tower Districts as opposed to the businesses' desire to keep pushing northward? Want to start us off, Paul?
Yes, of course. Thank you. One of my plans is job creation, and job creation entails partnering with businesses in the Tower District and the downtown area. We need to partnership up and then utilize the current city services to enhance those particular areas, as well as the entire city of Fresno. Once we create that partnership, we need to market it and let everyone know what our plans are and our goals are. If we continue to communicate and work together in those areas, I think we will enhance the area and get more businesses there, more revenue, and we'll be successful as we once were in Fresno.
In walking door to door for the past 6 months, I've gotten my best ideas from residents of the district. And one of the ways that we can increase job opportunities and opportunities throughout our city, not just downtown and at the Tower District, is to be able to change the way that we do business. I was very disappointed to learn from past department managers and current department managers in the city that we have a very, very bad process of doing permits. It takes 6 to 9 months to get a permit through the city, and that really discourages people from coming and developing and investing here. So what they have told me would work is to develop a triage process like they have in the city of Sanger, where you have the same people making the decisions on approvals. And in the city of Sanger, they're able to do this now in 45 days or less, or you don't pay your permit fee. We've got to do some bold things. We can't keep doing business as usual. The status quo isn't working. And I'm the person with my business experience to make that happen.
Let's talk some more about some of these areas. Can you describe your vision for the future of the Fulton Mall and the Chinatown areas? Susan, start us.
The future of the Fulton Mall and the Chinatown areas are of big concern to many people in the administration and to many people in our community. One of the sad things is that I believe that right now we need to get our financial house in order. It is really, really discouraging that for 3 years in a row we have miscalculated our budget and we are in a deficit. Let's get our financial house in order. Let's not discourage any private investment or additional investment coming in. Let's not discourage EB-5s or new development tax credits. Let's not discourage any of the new ideas. But let's focus, especially in District 4, people are upset that they're not getting enough attention, and a person needs to be there to fight for them, and that would be me.
With the revitalization of downtown, I support that, but not with taxpayer dollars. We must work with the existing community members, that is in Chinatown as well as the Fulton Mall area. We must take advantage of the existing city services that are offered there. I also feel we must encourage the private sector to get involved. Personally, my building is downtown at 1327 N Street, and I have a private investor in the downtown area, and it's worked out well for me. I think we need to encourage outside investment. The Helm building recently sold to some investors from out of Fresno. We need to continue to encourage more people to get involved with these revitalization plans, again, without using the taxpayer dollar. If we continue that format and work together, I think we can make a great change and difference in the downtown area as well as Chinatown.
Any need yet to have any rebuttal? Anything you'd like to counter? If not, I'm going to move on to another vexing problem, the problem of the homeless. Can it be resolved? Do you have any specifics you can offer? We've had a lot of broad generalities. How about giving us some ideas on what you see as a way of tackling this issue? And can we start with you, Susan?
The homeless is a real tragic situation for our area, and it is in every large city, and we are a large city now. And as far as specifics, I think that we have talked about specifics, and I think we've made some progress. The challenge is that we have so much more to go, and we need to show the heart of our city. And the heart of our city would be to lean toward doing the safe and legal campsites for our homeless. And we should be able to provide the minimum services that a human being would provide to another human being. And that would mean that we should have, and this would be done with private dollars, by the way, people in Fresno are willing to give for this. And that would be to provide a safe garbage service, water, safe drinking water, and that kind of a thing, to allow them, those people that cannot be placed, those people that haven't been placed, an opportunity to live with dignity.
I feel that in the homeless situation that we have a mayor that has a lot of compassion and a lot of heart. Mayor Swearingen, along with her team of Greg Barfield and Oliver Baines, who I've worked with in the past, are doing an excellent job. They're progressing, they're moving forward. But it's something that takes a community to resolve, and we all need to help out and pitch in. Mayor Swearingen has encouraged the private sector to get involved, and they're doing so with great results. So I think if we continue the course that the mayor has set and learn from our past mistakes and move forward with our current agenda and with our current mayor and her hard work, the homeless problem will resolve. But it will take time, it will take energy, it will take all of Fresno to help out the best they can.
Seems every city, state is having trouble balancing budgets. How can Fresno develop either new sources of revenue or get some other way of surpassing this annual hurdle? Are there any new approaches that you can propose, especially to keep police, fire, and other services viable? And can we start with you, Paul?
Yes. Balancing the budget is very, very difficult. These are hard economic times. We've all suffered from that. And I think it's vital to balance our budget that everyone get involved. We must encourage everyone to come forward. And unfortunately, the revenue-raising portion is there, and we have to develop and nurture that with job creation. On the other side, the cuts are horrible, but I think we have more cuts in our future. As a result of that, I think we need to get everyone involved. We cannot depend on one or two labor groups to bear the burden, the lion's share, if you will, of the cuts. All the unions, all the labor groups, all must step forward and help the mayor balance this very difficult budget. In 2008, when I was on the council, we actually balanced the budget and we had a $3 million surplus. I would use those same skills to balance our budget that we have before us.
Sadly, 3 years ago when this started, there were a lot of problems with the surplus that we had and with the budget that we had. It was a smoke and mirrors thing. And what's sad is that the administration and the current council has placed the blame on a certain groups and not everybody. I think what we need to do is come together for about 15 minutes and blame everyone, and including past administrations, past councils, and then spend time with everybody at the table looking at the solutions. I support, and this has been suggested to me by residents, I support a full-time independent financial auditor that reports directly to the council that looks for efficiencies. We have been told by department managers that there is money to be found in the existing budget. And other cities that have done this, for every dollar that they have spent on that auditor, they've gotten a minimum of $10, sometimes $50, sometimes $80 back. And we need to put the budget in a side-by-side budget together that we, the people, can understand.
Maria,
And then we can find the solutions.
Go ahead, Paul.
I'd like to address that. Smoke and mirrors is a term I'm not familiar with, because the record is very clear and succinct on the issue of the budget in '08. It was balanced, it was passed, it is a matter of public record. Likewise, through the hard, diligent efforts of all the council members and everyone involved with the budget process, we're able to put aside an additional $3 million to add it to the existing rainy day fund for a total of a little over $15 million. I'm very proud of that. Unfortunately, these economic times took away that rainy day fund, but we were on the right track, and it's a matter of public record.
Any other comments, Susan?
You can stand by a record if you choose to, but the sad part is that miraculously we ended up going into a bad time the next year. There's got to be a reason for that, and people have told me from the inside that there is. And that's one of the problems with City Hall. There is always an answer that is given, yet we still end up not getting the solutions, and that's what really concerns the residents of District 4.
I heard comments about labor, bad times. Unemployment's about 17% here in Fresno. What can we do about it? Any solutions, any thoughts? Susan, you want to start us on that?
Definitely. And it's a real tragic situation. Not only are people unemployed, but they're underemployed. And we need to work on that very diligently. And that's one of the reasons why that I believe that if we go, if we make ourselves more business friendly, and I know we talk about it every campaign, candidates will talk about that, but if we go in and we finally change that permitting process, that will help. Because I have talked to people they do home improvements. They don't do them in Fresno because Fresno takes too long with the permits. I've talked to people that build houses. They don't do them in Fresno because we're not friendly. We've got to change that, and we can change it from the outside in. There are too many people within our city that want to keep doing things the way that they have. We can't do that. We've got to change the way we are, and we've got to do it from people on the outside looking in, not from the people on the inside.
With regard to job creation, we need to, again, sit down with the business leaders and businesses of Fresno and communicate between the city and the businesses to see what they need to continue the business, operate effectively, efficiently, and that would enhance our manpower and employment situation and reduce the same accordingly. To do that, I think we need to encourage, for instance, the PG&E PUC plan that was in the paper today. It indicates that for certain businesses, they can get a 35% reduction in their cost of energy. Just think what that would do for the bottom line of that company that would enable them to hire more people and to enhance the revenue situation here in Fresno. As a planning commissioner, we streamlined the process as much as we could, and we encourage businesses to come to Fresno and expand. There are several businesses that I'd like to talk about, but we're on time restrictions here. One is El Paseo. It's $50 million, 47-acre development coming in, and many others. So it's working. We're working hard. I will continue to work hard for you in the city of Fresno.
And sadly, when there's El Paseo outside of District 4, there's Granite Park, there's Palm Lakes, and those are here in District 4, and that's a real sad situation. We need to focus on what we can do and do it right. And we need to be willing to look at it differently. And yes, we need to get businesses at the table. We need to get businesses at the table. We need to get our employees at the table. We need to get everyone on the table to look at this together instead of looking at it as us versus them.
Susan, you mentioned sad situation. I have to pick up on that and talk about something on the west side where we have this ongoing problem of the Darling Company. The company says that it's properly licensed to continue its animal rending business. The neighbors say the odor is intolerable. Negotiations up to now have not resulted in anything. Any thoughts on where we can go with that kind of problem? Paul, you want to start us off on that? How do we do something about that Darling situation?
Well, I think in the Darling situation, again, it boils down to the community and the administration putting their heads together with Councilmember Oliver Baines and other council members along with the mayor. It's a difficult situation, but the devil lies in the details. And what that means, we must go back to the original papers and documentation for the plant as compared to those for the community and the community leaders, and get together and negotiate, communicate, and figure out what's the best solution for this particular issue. It's not easy, but as they say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I'm tough enough to get going on that issue and assist the mayor and other council members as well as the citizens of District 3 to resolve this issue. And it's going to take a lot of hard work, but we're prepared to do that.
I thank you for bringing up another sad situation that's not in District 4, but it really emphasizes what is in District 4, and that's this Granite Park and Palm Lakes. And our challenge is the same with Darling. It's that we continue to have a position, and we're very staunch on that. And the residents keep having a position, and they're staunch on that, and there's no relationship that has been built, or there's not a strong enough relationship that has been built that creates the opportunity for compromise and the opportunity for success. And I applaud what has been done to date, but it obviously hasn't been enough. And I think that what we need to do for Darling is get everyone together, and also we need to, yes, we need to look at what has been agreed upon, but we need to look at what will work. I can't believe that there isn't ingenuity out there in our community or in our world that couldn't help alleviate or mitigate the challenges that exist with Darling. And I believe it can be done with technology.
Let me move on to another subject that's of concern to the city, education. What should the relationship be between the council and the schools right here in Fresno? And do you have any proposals that you'd like to see adopted? Any new steps that you look forward to? And Susan, can you start us on that?
Sure. The residents of District 4 have expressed great concern to me about what is happening in our schools. They aren't the schools that they remember them to be. So what role does a city council person have? To me, it's the role of giving input. And right now we have a dropout task force. And that dropout task force has many, many people on it. And has one council member. That council member is doing a good job. It's very, very hard, though, to try to represent this entire city with just one council member. It is true that a council member can, or any resident, can give feedback to that group, and fortunately the League of Women Voters has a representative on there too. That is good. I would like to see an ongoing task force or a community group that works with the school district and works with all of the leaders to give input and to give an opportunity for residents to give input as well, because it does affect our neighborhoods. What happens in our schools affects our neighborhoods, and it affects our city.
You know, the education issue, we need to get back to basics. Basics meaning when I was in high school, not everyone was meant to go to college. And as a result, there was vocational training. You had metal shop, wood shop, automotive, lots of variety of things you could engage in as part of your education. We need to get back to some of those fundamental values. And that would take communication and working together with the existing school system. And I think that's very, very capable and possible. While I was a council member serving while Larry Westerman was overseas, we communicated with Amy Aramula, who was the liaison between the schools and city council. And as a result, many programs were developed. The one I was most proud of was a system whereby we put computers into the local parks areas so children could get out of school, have a play time, and also a work time, a homework time, and they could use those computers and enhance their education and move forward with it. So I think if we continue along those lines, we can really, really make a difference with the education in Fresno.
We do have a vocational education program in Fresno Unified, and it is growing. The challenge with it is that it is in magnet schools. You can choose a particular vocational avenue, but you have to go to a particular school for that. And so we took it out of our neighborhood schools. And that's unfortunate because many families want to be able to have their children go to school near their homes, and they want to be able to have the opportunity to meet their children that they'll play with them and get to know them in their own neighborhood. So we need to go back to some of the ways that we were doing it, but we are doing some work on that now.
Well, vocational training is absolutely critical. And the mayor has a program now called Learn to Earn. And it matches the employer who has a need for a particular job skill and an employee who, through the Learn to Earn program, can develop those skills and information and knowledge necessary to match the two up. I think if we continue along that line, it will enhance both our revenue and our education, and the entire community would benefit.
Let me tackle one more area before we wrap up. There's been frequent talk between the city and the county about consolidating services, especially in the county islands. And I'm wondering where you stand in this controversy and if you support the proposal and how you can make it really happen. So I wonder if you could start us off, Paul.
Thank you very much. Consolidation, I think, is critical. It's an absolute necessity. We have to get more and more and more efficiency in our police and fire as well. And county islands versus the city doesn't work. We've got to manage to do that together and work in conjunction. Consolidation is critical. If we can consolidate the sheriff's department and the police department from the dispatch to records to the evidence locker, fixed wing helicopter aircraft. In other words, we'd have a common hangar, a common fuel supply system. We could consolidate these efforts and save money, taxpayer money. That money then can be utilized on the police department side of the ledger sheet for more patrols, more activity in the community. Public safety is a critical issue in District 4. On the other side, the sheriff's department then would have enough money from this consolidation to open up more floors from the jail and hold the prisoners that deserve to be in jail, keep them in jail.
We've been talking about consolidation for a long time in our community, probably more than 20 years. And interestingly, there was a joint powers agreement to combine public safety, sheriff's department, and the police department. And on that joint powers authority, there wasn't even a representative from the sheriff's department or the police department, I understand. And that's discouraging. So we talk a good talk in the city, but we don't move forward. And indeed, the talks have been put on hold. We couldn't even agree with the city and the county on how we were going to reorganize the RDA for a little while, you know, the new son of RDA, the redevelopment agency. And so I think that the first thing we need to do is do business differently than we always have. We need to fight that status quo, and consolidation needs to be with everybody at the table. Nobody's going to come to the table and trust if we haven't developed that relationship to begin with. I learned that in 35 years of business.
Before we wrap up, I just want to point out that the elections locally for mayor, city council, and county supervisor are all nonpartisan. That means that in the primary on June 5th, any person can vote regardless of party, and a candidate that receives a majority of the vote wins outright. And if no candidate gets a majority, then the top two vote getters will appear on the ballot in the fall without regard to party. Now let's move on to a wrap-up, and let's start with Susan on a final statement.
To me, we can't continue doing business as usual, and the residents of District 4 agree with that. We're really tired of having our district be ignored. We feel that things are going north and there's not enough attention to us. We have long established neighborhoods in District 4. We have people that have lived there for a long time that deserve to live there. I've had the opportunity to live in 4 different distinct areas of District 4, and I know the 4 different areas. We really need to have attention to District 4, and we need to do business differently. And the way we do business differently is to bring in someone from the outside, someone with 35 years of proven business and financial management experience, someone who knows how to look at a budget. And we also need to have a woman on the council. It's very sad that for 2 years we haven't had a woman. For 23 years we haven't had a woman in District 4 represent us. Now is our opportunity. We have a very qualified woman in me, and I would be very, very honored to have your support. Thank you.
Thank you. We need effective, experienced, proven leadership to get us out of the financial straits we're in at this moment. I have that experience and skill. I'm the only candidate that's actually served on the City Council, that's served on the Planning Commission, that's actually been in business for himself for over 37 years. I'm the only candidate that's actually been in public safety. As a Deputy Attorney General and a Deputy District Attorney, I carried a badge and I fought for Fresno, and I will continue to do so. My 4-point plan will also enhance our abilities to come out of this financial strait. In other words, job creation, balancing the budget, District maintenance and public safety are a priority with me. And with your help and my proven effective leadership, we can overcome the battles that we have to fight right now and get Fresno back on track and make us a successful, harmonious, prosperous community that we once were and will continue to be. I will fight for District 4, and I will be an advocate, and an advocate to the end. I'll fight for us every day at City Hall. Thank you.
Well, our time is up, and on behalf of the League of Women Voters, I want to thank the candidates for sharing their views and the Community Media Access Collaborative for providing its facilities. Now it'll be your turn to be a good citizen and vote in the primary on Tuesday, June 5th. If you have any questions about voting procedures, the County Clerk's office will be glad to assist. You can phone 559-600-8683 or email clerk-elections@co.fresno.ca.us. Thank you. Goodbye.